questions on trigonometry with right-angled triangles. This is an example of finding a missing side, and it's one of the easier types of questions. Remember, when you're looking at trigonometry questions like this, the first thing you need to do is label your sides. So, the hypotenuse, always opposite the right angle. The opposite side is always opposite the angle we are working with. And the adjacent side is the side that connects the right angle and the angle that we're working with. So that's our first step. Our second step is to remember SOHCAHTOA. And now we need to choose which one of those three it is. So we look at the question and we can see that we've been given the hypotenuse, and the side that we're trying to work out here is the opposite. So it's the sides O and H that we're working with. O and H means that we're working with sine. So we write down the equation, which is sine of the angle is opposite over hypotenuse. And then we put in the numbers that we know. The angle is 43, so it's sine 43. The opposite is x, the unknown, and h is the 7.8. We then rearrange. That means we want the x on its own. The 7.8 is the divider here, so when it moves to the other side, it becomes a multiplier. So we get 7.8 times sine 43 will give us the answer that we are looking for. And if we grab our calculator, all we need to do type into that is 7.8 multiplied by sine 43. Don't forget to close your brackets, and this will give us the answer we're looking for. It's a long decimal. It's 5.319. 5.319 ... It asks us for three significant figures. 1, 2, 3. We want to round it to that level. So 5.32 because we round up. Our measurement was in centimetres, so 5.32 centimetres is the answer to the first question there. So that's finding a missing side. Sometimes finding a missing side question is a bit harder. Sometimes you are looking for a side that makes the equation a little harder to solve. So here's an example of what that might look like. Here we have a right angle triangle. We can see angles, right angles, sides. We know it's trigonometry. So we need to label our sides. Notice the right angle is here, so here's the hypotenuse. Notice the angle we're working with is here, so this is the opposite. Remember, the adjacent connects the right angle to the angle that we are working with. And now we've labelled our sides. For this sort of trigonometry, it's SOHCAHTOA. We just need to choose the correct one. Now, they're asking us here to work out the length YZ. That's this one here. So we want the hypotenuse, and we know the opposite, OH. In this case, we're using sine. We write out the formula. Sine of the angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. And now we put in the numbers we know. We know the angle is 32. Sine 32. The opposite we can see is 5. And the hypotenuse is the side that we want. We can give it a letter if we want, or we could just use the letter H for hypotenuse. But it's the letter, the unknown, the thing we're trying to work out. Now what makes this difficult for some people is that the H we want is on the bottom here, and people often want to just multiply by 5. What we have to remember here is this H that's dividing here can go over there and become a multiplier, and the sine 32 can come from over here to the other side and become a divider. So in effect, the H and the sine 32 just look like they've swapped places. It takes a bit of getting your head around, but when you practice these questions, you get used to it. Swap the H and the sine 32, we get H is 5 over sine 32. And we're now ready for our calculator. Clear the screen. It's a fraction, 5 on the top. On the bottom, we've got sine 32. Don't forget to close that bracket off. Press the equal sign, 9.435. So 9.435. Now check the question. It asks for 3 significant figures. First, second, third. We want to round it to that digit there. So is it 9.43? Check the next digit. Tells us to round up. We get 9.44 centimeters as our answer. So the same process. Label the sides, SOHCAHTOA, choose the correct one, put in the numbers. By that point you've got 1 or 2 marks in an exam question. Final little step. Remember, this was the tricky bit here, wasn't it, that we found a bit tricky, this bit here. Beware of that. Once you're confident, you'll get all the marks. Final bit of trigonometry for this grade 5 level is when you're trying to find a missing angle. So let's have a look at a finding a missing angle question. Here we are, a right angle triangle. It's got some angles, it's got some lengths. I think this is question 2 in your pack, folks. Same process. We start by labelling the sides. Here is the right angle, so here is the hypotenuse. Apologies for the pen. Here is the angle we're working with, so this must be opposite. Here is the side that connects the angle we're working with to the right angle, so this is the adjacent. We've labelled our sides. And then we're going to go for SOHCAHTOA. So we've got SOHCAHTOA. And we look at the question. The 2 sides we are working with, 8.3 here is the adjacent, 9.5 is the hypotenuse. A and H, here they are, so it's cosine, cos, that we're working with. So here we go, we write down the equation, cos of the angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And now we put in the numbers that we know. We don't know the angle, it's written here as x, so we say cos x equals, adjacent was 8.3, hypotenuse was 9.5. We've created the equation. To find x, when you're finding an angle, you need to get rid of the cos on this side. If you take that cos from here over to the other side, it does the entire opposite. The entire opposite of cos is something known as the inverse cos. So on your calculator is cos to the -1. And that's what happens when you send it over to the other side. This thing here, as scary as it looks, will type straight into your calculator. You press the shift button and then cos, and as you see you get this thing cos to the -1. In our brackets over here we have a fraction. We use the fraction button. The numerator is 8.3, the denominator 9.5. We just need to move across and close the brackets. This is the same as here. When we press the equal sign, it will find the value of that angle for us. So here we go. 29.110. 29.110. Our question asks for 1 decimal place, so we just want to round to that. So 29 point something. Check the next digit. Nope, we don't round up, we'll just keep it as 29.1. Don't forget it's an angle that we're working with, so our units are degrees. And there you have it. An easy and a difficult finding a side, and a standard issue finding a missing angle. Hopefully that was helpful.